Welcome
Welcome.
to Shade and the
In this
City. I'm your girl Treese.
It's Nels.
And today, y'all, we are getting into none other than the Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 16, episode 17, Game Over. Okay. So if you guys have not already, all of my RHOA Shade Squad, please make sure y'all hit that like button.
And a subscribe button.
And y'all, let's jump right into it. And yeah, it was a finale. All right. They saved the best for last. But let's jump right into it and let's get shady. All right, so we kick off this episode. Portia and Lauren, they go over to see Phaedra to discuss Londy's homegoing service. Again, rest in peace and condolences to their family. We learned that Lauren was actually on the phone. Apparently,
Oh, when they said that, could you imagine?
I was just getting ready to say, and I was going to say it in the most loving way possible. Don't call me. Don't call me. No, I can't imagine. I don't want to imagine.
It wasn't, to me, it wasn't given like she called her because of that. I thought that they were having a conversation and it happened. You think she called her because she was like in distress?
I think so. I don't know, but I can't imagine. I think that that's a lot of weight to carry. And I will say that I feel like Lauren is always there for everybody else. We've seen it for Portia. So I just hope, everybody's checking on her because that's a lot. I can only imagine. But it seems like, her being the spiritual person that she is, she's dealing with it well. Portia says that, she was working, got the call that Londy was in distress, and an hour later she had passed. Phaedra says that, she's the chairman of the usher board into heaven in her confessional. Okay. So then Portia's like, all this planning, it's just so much to do, it's endless. And she talks about how she got off the phone with the pastor, and Phaedra's like, yeah, he cute, ain't he? Phaedra, these people are mourning, ma'am. They're grieving.
Trees. People meet people at funerals all the time.
I can't. You sound like someone right now.
You gotta do something to make yourself a little happy.
I can't. Shout out to Simone Redwine. She got some stories. She loved going to a good funeral and finding her a man, boy. So she'd be like, you get them when they widowed, and yeah. So they sit down to eat, and Lauren notices Phaedra's butterfly plates. This is what I was talking about with her. And so she mentions that, she's been seeing butterflies ever since Londy passed. So Phaedra asks if the other ladies have reached out to Portia, and Portia says that most of them have. And so Portia says in confessional that, she thought this was her year, and apparently it was, but not the year that she thought she was going to have. And she brings up her divorce and then losing Londy and says that, her heart is just broken. So Phaedra suggests, well, why don't we do now this? I'm sorry. I know people, this is why you need Phaedra. Okay. So, and Portia. Okay. But Phaedra suggests that they do. They are. So Phaedra suggests that they do a butterfly release, and Portia questions, well, whether they're going to return back to the owner. And Phaedra has to break it to her that, baby, you can't train butterflies.
You don't train butterflies.
And I said, you know what? I really need Portia to go blonde. It would just fit her so well. I really need that baby to go blonde because the shit that comes out her mouth.
And she was dead serious. She said, well,
she was dead serious too. That's the thing. She just like the Underground Railroad. She was dead ass.
She's never going to be able to live that down.
No.
Never, ever.
And she might not be able to live the butterflies down.
I mean, when you compare it to the Underground Railroad.
Yeah, like, that's hard. That's hard. Yeah. Where did they stop the train?
Yeah. Oh, it wasn't like her grandfather an activist or something.
Mm-hmm.
I think that made it 10 times worse. All right. So Angela went to go see her therapist, Wendy. And she said her and Charles have been seeing her since 2017. She's like the third party in their marriage. She said that she needed advice on how to deal with her husband and all that comes with him and these hoes. Um, and she said that, this woman has been instrumental in helping them stay married. She told her that, she's just about over these homes. It's been putting a strain on her marriage. And she said she was constantly asking Charles to just dump more money into this project. He's kind of reached his breaking point. He ain't doing it no more. So
Right.
they reduced the prices of these homes, and she's just hoping that they sell. So her therapist, I kind of like her therapist. Her therapist was like, okay, and what did you learn? And she said, to trust who she trusts because Charles told her not to, and she went against him. Then she explained what happened at the cooking event, and she said she told Charles about it, and he told her it was a lie, um, and told her that somebody put him there. And asked her, if he trusts her. And she says she does. Okay. She says she trusts her husband, but she doesn't want him to become an easy target. Um, and basically, the therapist basically let her know, well, he did let you know that he's well aware that he was going to be attacked. And, this made her emotional. And she said, after all this, she's going to protect what she has. And she's in fighting mode now. And she said she's definitely going to be addressing this.
Well, then we see Shamia has put on a showcase to, put her music on display. Okay. So Cynthia is there briefly because she has a flight out. And so she just came to collect her coin. So Drew arrives on time for once because she's there to give
I said the same. Look, I said, oh, because she's there to give constructive criticism. That's why
criticism.
she on
Okay.
time.
And make sure that Shamia's mic is on. All right. So Kelly and Britt are clearly ignoring each other. And it's awkward. And Kelly says that, she's shown up for Britt and that wasn't reciprocated. So she's non existent to her. And when I tell you that was true Pisces energy, I felt it. I said, Kelly, I hear you, sis. I hear you. Okay. We like reciprocal relationships. We do, especially as we get older. So Shamia comes out to perform, and Drew is already clocking that Shamia can't hit all her notes. So RL is backstage critiquing Shamia, basically telling her to take it to church. You know what I'm saying? So Kelly and Angela are actually really surprised that Shamia has done put on a full whole performance. They felt like she
It
was
was
on
really like a
tour.
concert. It was like a full on production.
Yeah. Britt says, she did okay, but she could use some work.
I
And I
know
want to
she's
say,
walking bare
Britt,
naked.
what do you do?
Girl, you can't
And
even
right
put
now
on
you're giving
you can't even put on a event and have everybody fed.
well, she said it, I didn't. So I was gonna say right now you giving a little charade tease with a spring, summer, fall,
Right, so I saw that too.
because we still ain't got no bare naked, okay?
I said that too. I said, oh, I was like, I wonder if she actually said that or if they was just being shady, talking
No,
about.
but they actually put the spring, summer on Kelly for her. It wasn't Britt, it was Kelly that they did
Oh,
that.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, about her restaurant opening, but that they
Mm.
should have put it on Britt. Um, so basically Drew says that she needs to rehearse her songs a little bit more and says in confessional that the mic was on but it needed to be off. Okay. And I ain't even gonna hold you, I ain't even got nothing for Drew because all that smoke that Shamia gave her about her music, and I ain't gonna hold you, I've heard Drew's album, that shit bops. I'm waiting, Shamia.
Her album still didn't come out.
No,
Oh.
she dropped the single the same month that Drew dropped her album, March
Oh, that's what
2025.
that was. It was a single, not an
The
album.
Yeah, the single, but she hasn't dropped an
Oh,
album yet. No. Angela comes over and asks if they're planning to come to her gala for the Charles Oakley Foundation. She lets us know that they've been doing this for 8 years and they feed 100,000 children, or just people with children mainly, is what I'm getting. They talk about promoting the cause on their social media, and then Drew asks Kelly, "Well, how many followers do you have?" And she says she has 150K. And so Britt chimes in, "But they're fake followers." And so Kelly said, "Oh." And no, and said that Kelly's followers grew 80K in one day. And so Kelly said, "Oh, well, I didn't realize I had somebody stalking my page." And that was a little weird. That was a little weird. So Britt is saying, like, "Oh, well, at one point we were really close." And she was like, "Or were we in competition? Because
I was
why?"
about to say, because girl, I don't know how many followers you got.
I don't know either.
Like,
And
I
could
would,
care less. If you jumped up to 200 yesterday, I wouldn't be like,
no, and look, I wouldn't notice. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know if there was a difference.
right,
I would just know you had a lot of followers.
right. And so Angela interrupts and tells them, just tell them to donate. Okay. So then Kelly says, well, if there's a certain amount, you might need to tell Britt because you know she don't know. I said,
Yo, Kelly ate down with it. Did you saw Brit get quiet?
uh-huh.
She had nothing to say. She couldn't say not a damn thing. I said, Kelly,
I keep
Kelly.
telling y'all better leave our damn Pisces alone. There's two fish. There's two
I
fish. Y'all keep
said,
and you
girl.
might come around and get the wrong one. Okay. We ain't much different than a damn Gemini. Please don't get it twisted.
Oh my God, that was.
And so then Phaedra says in her confessional that they don't need to have this argument again because the girls might have it, but they don't know how to give it. Okay. So Shamia shows up after and greets the ladies and she thanks them for, supporting her. And she says that she wishes Portia was there, but she understands her absence. And before Britt leaves, Shamia addresses her about what she told Portia, um, about Shamia talking ish about her and, the whole text message situation. So Britt says, well, you have said things about Portia, and then brings up the text messages. And this is where I ain't even gonna hold you, Shamia. This is where you look like a bad friend.
Especially, you know what? Shamia can't even say that she didn't show the text messages because
Because
Portia
Portia already confirmed what was in
confirmed
the text message. Yeah.
exactly.
And the fact that I ain't even gonna hold you, I don't know if it was for the moment because she was going through so much during the time. I'm proud of Portia for not even, like she said, she was low on
Definitely.
her totem pole because I don't even know if I could have sat back and trusted you. I know you're trying to be here for me. I'm going through a loss, but I wouldn't even want you around me knowing that, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, I I mean, I don't know if you picked up on the energy. It was giving like, I still love you, girl, but I got too much going on to even really take it there with you. But we ain't like that right now. Like even when she was like trying to console her and stuff,
Mhm.
Portia was just kind of looking at her like,
Well, Shamia denies ever talking about Portia and accuses Britt of being jealous because of Shamia's newfound relationship with Kelly. And so Britt is asking her about the text messages when Shamia says now she understands why she can't take a shot because she gets butt naked. Okay. And so Britt admits that, yeah, I did get butt naked. And Shamia think and so what I did hear a little tea, and this is allegedly, but I did hear a little tea on these streets that what we saw with Britt and her putting her titties on the table was actually it went much further.
mm-hmm,
And they saw a lot of Britt that they ain't expect to see. Okay. So I think this is Shamia calling out what we didn't see,
mm-hmm,
which was her actually stripping down and getting naked. Okay.
mm-hmm.
So Britt, so Shamia's like, well, thank you for keeping your clothes on. And so Britt brings up Shia, and I said, oh girl, wrong road, wrong road. We don't know by now. Girl, I understand that you are a fan and you have wanted to be on this show, but you should know Housewives 101 or just
I have
reality
to
TV.
I have to assume that it's because she doesn't have any kids. Like because anybody with kids knows kids are off limits. You don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
That is grounds for me not giving a damn for getting kicked off the show.
I hear you, but so basically,
Mhm.
she brings up Shia and how Shamia was in tears, had them all, rallying around her, and then, but she ended up, I guess she was in Miami with Kelly popping
Kelly,
shots, and so Shamia calls Britt a streetwalker, and she thanks Britt for keeping her clothes on
and she
again, and
said,
Britt,
"At least I'm not popping pills."
Oh, I didn't hear that. And so Britt brings up how she heard rumors that Shamia was unfaithful and reminds her, but you're married. You're married, Shamia. So,
And apparently, this is an old rumor. Apparently, this is something that's been going around. I ain't never heard it. You know what? Let me tell you something. I know you don't watch baddies,
no, I
but
don't.
this is really baddies with tighter security and more money. Because these girls don't know how to act nowhere either.
They don't, but they look a lot better. They
Because they
not.
got money. Because they got money and tighter security.
Natalie
But
got the money. She
but
could dress them
no,
girls up.
them girls get paid. And the more seasons that they go on, the more money they make. But they girl, they ain't doing that for nothing, just for TV time. They get a check. But literally, when I was watching this, I said, this situation at the gala, like y'all go to these events
And show act a whole
and
fool.
show, yeah, I'm like, this is baddies with more money and tighter security.
I think I like that though. I think I like that. I don't want to see bitches running around in scullies and in booty
And,
shorts and outside squaring up.
and titties out and wigs
Right.
coming
Yeah,
off.
that's not. I like gowns and bitches cussing each other out with reeds and
It's because their security actually steps in. On baddies, the security waits for a second.
well, not even that. And I think it's a different too. These women actually have something to lose.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, some of them clearly don't give a damn because they just
Right,
ready to
right.
deal with pow pows and what have you. But um,
Well, what else is Brit doing? So
oh, remember she has an insurance agency.
no, she has a lawsuit.
Kelly is making breakfast with her girl. Her sister Kamaya came by. They're discussing the struggle of her, Sandy Springs location opening, specifically, basically due to her still being married, and she don't want, the ex or soon to be ex husband to have access to that asset. And her daughter asked, basically, can she be the manager? And she was like, "Girl, at this point, you might be everything because
I ain't
I
got it.
ain't exactly." Then Drew's kids are in Chicago with her mom. So Ralph has asked to come upstairs and have a conversation with her. And this man asked him, how did we get here?
He hit her with a Deborah Cox.
I was about to say, sir, you're not Deborah Cox. You know how we got here. Okay. Nasty ass. You know exactly how. He said that he wants to get into a co-parenting agreement. But the judge has an order in place where he can't see his kids Monday through Friday.
Well, why does that judge see? I would have threw see Drew was too lax for me because I would have said, well, why is that order in place? Because you just won't get out.
Drew is still in love with that man and doesn't want she's scared to cause friction. Okay.
Oh, is that what you got? Okay.
Drew said, even though the court ordered that, you can ask for permission because they're your kids too, and I would never take your kids away from you. So she said she's not looking at the failure as all bad. She said that they both want what they want and they both deserve to have it. And moving forward, he said that he just wants to be cool. And then, I mean, we get into this one. I did real short. Then we get into Phaedra and her boo Shay Shay. They're on a cute little date, making a charcuterie board. They've been dating for 4 months. She invited him to be her date to Charles's gala event.
Okay, so although it was a very cute date in the winery, and I ain't even gonna hold you. I said people need lessons in how to make a charcuterie board and like it was crazy to me that this is because I feel like it's whatever you want.
I just thought it was a part of the. I didn't know if there was like on a tour or something like that. I just thought it was like a part of the the
And I
tour.
guess you can make your own thing and enjoy it at
Yeah,
the
that's kind of what I
okay.
thought it was.
Okay,
Yeah,
because I was
like
like,
part of
you could go and look,
the
this is when I
winery.
turn into nails and the savings. You could go to the grocery store and just get some
So
cheese
silly.
and some veggies and some fruit and cut
No,
them up.
I think it was part of the
Oh, okay.
winery
Because
experience.
I was
Yeah,
like, that's not nothing miraculous. But so we see well, first of all, we saw that Britt and Mike are out here shopping for a private plane, but she gave $250 for the charity. But that, that's not my business. I ain't here to count nobody's checks. So Britt's mom has moved into her house and they plan to have the family over for dinner. This includes Mike's family and hers because they never met because they got married during COVID. Britt lets know that they're moving forward with their ceremony. And then from there, they're going to start trying to have a baby. All right. That was Britt. Anything on Britt?
mm-mm.
Didn't think so. So everyone shows up for Charles's event, and Angela says that the goal is to raise 50K. I don't know how much they ended up raising, but I do know it was more than that.
107,000.
Oh, that's wonderful. So Angela reveals that her and Drew met with Marcus. We see footage of him telling her that Charles was in his restaurant, but Angela knows that that's a lie because Charles was coaching on national TV at the time. And I said, girl, you better know where your man is at all the time. She must have a track on this. So Angela
Well,
demand.
I, do you know where that is? She said in the big three. Do you know where that was?
I mean, it was what the big three is.
Because the guy is saying that he was in Atlanta at his restaurant,
Yeah,
and
and I
I
don't think
guess
it.
I
And
took
the
it
thing
as
about it
he
is
was away,
the big three is on TV.
but I
So
took it as he was away coaching somewhere. So he couldn't
I
have been
agree. I agree. Um, I mean, I'm sure they played at Atlanta, but they, play in different places.
hmm
And again, it's hard to say someone somewhere when I can turn on a certain channel and see where
Especially
they
if
are.
they're like in a different state. Like,
Right.
yeah,
Right. So y'all don't judge now. She don't watch no sports. Okay.
I
So
don't.
Angela demands to know who sent him, and then once they let he's like put it in the phone. Put it in the phone. So he types it out, and so we learned that it's Phaedra. Okay. And so she just wants to understand why she would do this. And hold on. So Portia says that Shamia talking about her is so low on the totem pole right now. We talked about that earlier. Britt decides to share with Portia that Shamia is upset with her for telling her about the text message. And Cynthia admits that, yeah, I did say something as well. And Portia was like, not you telling. Then Charles and Angela get up, present awards for different causes, giving back to the community. They honored a lot of people, but I think the biggest one, or I won't say the biggest one, but they did take a moment to present an award for Portia and her and Londi for the work that they did for their
I
grandfather
thought that was super.
foundation. I thought that was super sweet.
Yeah.
Portia almost gets emotional on stage, but feels honored to be recognized, with Londi. And as she sits down, she's clearly emotional. So the ladies all rally around her. And Shamia says that, she doesn't want any of the women getting in between her and Portia's friendship because she is her person and hopes she understands that the love has always been there and she doesn't know where their friendship will land moving forward. So Shamia knows, she felt it.
But see, that was the scene I was talking about. When she
Mhm.
tried to console her, it was giving half of I love you, but I don't like you right now.
Right.
Okay, so at the end of the event, Angela let the ladies know that they raised 107,000. And then she brings up the incident that happened at Kelly's event. She told Kelly that she found it kind of odd that it happened in the middle of her event. And then told Britt that she thought maybe it could have been her. Um, so Britt said she's a married woman, okay, and she would never sabotage anyone else's marriage. And
I
Kelly,
love how Kelly started cracking up.
she thought that was hilarious. Start even didn't she nudge
Shamia, she was
my girl by? Um, then they said that they were trying to get to the bottom of it, and they think they did. And they brought in Marcus. And Charles walked up and told him to get the hell out. And he turned around to leave and said he didn't want no trouble. So Angela went back to go get him. and
Said, no,
told
you're gonna
Charles.
listen to let him speak, Charles.
She
Let him
said, let
speak.
him finish. And she told Charles to trust her. Charles was like, I don't. Okay. I don't trust you. Sir, after all this talking about trust you. Okay. And then all the ladies are talking about how Charles was known in the NBA as the enforcer.
Forcer, okay.
Um, Charles took his mic off and told the dude, listen, you lucky, and he left. So Angela sat down with Marcus and asked who sent him. Um, and he said there's somebody in his circle who was not happy with Angela and said it was Phaedra and said she is the godfather of Atlanta. In a confessional, Phaedra said she has no reason to do that. She just met this girl and she has already had her marriage destroyed on national TV. So why would she do that to anyone else's marriage? He said the tea was dropped to him at Phipps Plaza the Monday before the event. And she said she's never even met this man and called him crazy. He told her that he dropped off an envelope, that she dropped off an envelope to him with the information, with the information. And he said that, yeah, I guess, but then I was confused because he said that she dropped it off to him, but then he said that it was through a connect named Junebug. So did she drop it off to you or did she give it to the Connect Junebug? So I was confused about that. Then Portia said this sounded like a scheme Todd came up
Yeah,
with.
so I love when she said that.
Oh my God. I said, oh my God. Then he said he promises that this is the truth. And then he got his ass up and left. Phaedra said, what beef would I have with you? And Angela said, maybe it's the fact that I have a marriage and you don't, and you want one because you tried to destroy mine.
She
And
said, I already had a man cheating on me, girl. I don't want what you.
exactly. And she's like, girl, please, I like your husband, and I don't even know, and you don't even know me. Angela said, I trusted you and I liked you. And Phaedra said, well, I thought I liked you too. And Phaedra said, you accusing me of something you ain't even got no proof of. And Angela then quoted the Godfather and said to be wary of the person who brings you the information. And Phaedra called her about how she remembers that guy and
Marcus.
has the memory of an elephant, and his name is Marcus, and said where he worked at. And she was like, because the man introduced himself at the event. So, and she said, after all you've gone through with this group, to think that she would show up again with some controversy, basically said Angela must have lost her damn mind. Then Phaedra said, you doing all this researching, but you failed to let us know that you're in foreclosure. Angela said, girl, that ain't no thesis. Okay. And tells her that she don't give a
I thought
damn.
she said that's not tea.
Yeah. Oh,
You said
oh,
thesis.
my thing said thesis. Listen, I was just trying to say what the girl said. Look, that's what my subtitle said.
What's the thesis?
She said, I don't give a damn. I'll tell people what I'm going through. And said, she's had one failed friendship group, from one failed friendship group to another. And here you are doing the same stuff again that you did with your old friends. And then told her that you're walking around here like you got your stuff together, but do you even let your kids see your father? And I said, oh God, here we go. What? So Phaedra
Well, I didn't
said,
understand what one had to do with the other, but okay.
exactly. So then she said that she does all the time. And Kelly said, yeah, what we're not going to do is bring up kids. And everybody, apparently everybody thinks that it was Britt that might have done it. They don't believe Phaedra did it. Angela told them that, she's sorry that the night had to end like this, but she wishes her the best on her investigation and trying to ruin her marriage. Shamia said that her kid was also brought up the other day by Britt, talking about how she was faking her daughter being sick, um, and said, and she said she had to walk away because she was ready to beat that girl ass. Okay, so Britt asked her if she was threatening her, and she said, "No, girl, you don't want to try to threaten people with a pow pow because you're a whore." And then Cynthia is discussing with Portia, whole Britt and Shamia's situation, and she said that she had a conversation with Shamia. Portia told her that she wasn't supposed to tell her. And Cynthia was like, Oh, girl, I felt like she needed to know because
Y'all were
um,
getting back on track, and
I was getting back on track, and if the shoe was on the other foot, then she would have wanted the same thing. And Portia told her that she probably feels comfortable talking to Britt and Kelly and talking to whatever ish she wants to talk. And she said that she hasn't changed her movement with Shamia at all. She said that they had a conversation. She let her know that she cherished their friendship. And if she decides to take it somewhere else, that's on her. And if she want to come back, then she can come back and I'll still be here. And, Cynthia apologized for overstepping.
um, I love when Portia said that Angela did this to herself. I thought that
Yes,
was a
she
good
did.
thing. And she said, you
and
know
look,
what?
and look,
She said, you
and
know
had
what?
her
Meet me
back,
at the reunion.
and had her back to the camera when she said it. I
Right.
think Angela did this to herself.
So Kelly is finally divorced as of September 2024 and is planning to open her Sandy Springs location in summer 2025. But we all know we're in summer now. So we know it ain't gonna be spring. Maybe we'll get it by the fall. We're wishing you the best of luck, Kelly. Okay. Shamia then starts all right, we talked about that. Um Update on Britt is she's using her clean slate to open a new insurance agency and still working on releasing her Bare and Naked line. Good luck with that. Drew released her album March 2025, which is a bop, and her music career is on a high, but her relationship with Ralph is still on a low, and he continues to reside in the basement and tell all your secrets. Um, and there's no end to the divorce in sight because it's probably not going to happen. I'm sorry. I'm just going to call it that. Love Drew. I got to call a thing at this point. Shamia has a new surrogate and hopes to welcome a new baby soon. She released her single Never Had in March 2025. Phaedra is booked and busy and adding more jobs until her boys can retire her. And she's still messing with, I believe it's Che Che.
Shay Shay, yeah.
Angela sold 3 of her homes, but unfortunately, she did lose 2. However, she's starting a new business venture, Fanji, a line of fans. And I couldn't at first when I watched it, I was like, I don't get it. And then I was like, oh, because they made
I
fun of
feel
her
the
all
same
season.
thing. Mhm.
And there's no updates on when her and Charles will renew their vows. Okay. 5 months later, we get to see Portia back in her home. Okay. No longer the Gubadia home, but it's her home.
Mhm.
Portia's happy to be back. And, she's talking to her mom. Miss Diana came over and she's talking about the upcoming court date and how she's hoping everything is going to be finalized. And then, of course, as we know, Simon was detained by ICE in 2025, which left their divorce on ice. However, we know that it was finalized like all of last week or 2 weeks ago. And Simon has to pay while she gets to stay in that house.
I thought it was hilarious that they said the divorce is on ice. I said, "Oh, your shady ass."
Hey. And yeah, so that was this season of The Real Housewives of Atlanta. Y'all drop down in the comments. Let us know what you thought about this season, about this finale episode. If you guys have not already, please make sure you hit that like button.
Make sure you comment
Make sure that you guys subscribe.
and you hit the notification bell.
Make sure you guys are following us on all the platforms. That's the TikTok, the IG, the Facebook, and the Blue Sky. And yeah, y'all, we will catch you next week because we got part 1 of the reunion. Okay. And it's a 3-parter.
I was about to say part 1 of 3.
Part 1 of 3. So yeah, we'll catch you next week. Everybody be good, be safe, be blessed. Bye-bye.
Good night.